Thank you everyone for joining. Here we are in week 3 of all of us working remotely. This is our 7th virtual leader chat today as we're doing our best to stay connected as we all practice physical distancing. And today's VLC is physical, all right. It's based on your request. We will be talking about ways you can stay physically active while at home during this pandemic. As we all know, a combination of exercise, eating healthy, getting enough rest and sleep are all examples of healthy behaviors and important for all of our mental health and wellness. I'd like to welcome Mandy Dorego. Mandy is a certified personal trainer, a certified holistic nutritionist, and a youth trainer specialist. She owns Fitness Evolution in Brooklyn, Ontario. Thank you, Mandy, for joining us.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me.
Before we begin, a couple of corporate updates since we last connected on Friday. We continue to have no confirmed cases of COVID-19 for any MPAC employees. Our business continuity team is continuing to meet daily, continuing to share updates and make decisions based on feedback. We're also updating our new communications COVID-19 intranet page on the intranet daily. And I know that the Premier is speaking right now. So as we prepared for this VLC, it's all based on information before the Premier speaks. If there's anything that comes out of that, we will be sure to update you right after. So we're going to follow a similar format to Friday, where you send in all your questions on the chat box, and Carla's going to read them out loud. So Carla, are you there?
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Excellent. Well, welcome, Carla. So great. So now for today's virtual leader chat. Our topic, as I mentioned, was inspired by you, our employees, and it's about fitness. I'm also equally inspired by this topic. Some of you may know that I'm an avid runner. Exercise is what I find comforting for my well-being, especially during these trying times. And I actually do my best thinking when I'm running. And as you know, mental health and wellness are topics that are very important to me. So Mandy, I noticed that you're in your home gym, which is beautiful.
Yes. Thank you. And I see that you're,
sorry?
I was going to say, Nicole, I see that you're in your suit jacket. I thought you were going to work out along with me today.
I am. Well, as I was sharing with Mandy as we prepped for the call, as I'm now sitting more than ever at my home office, and I did agree that she would take me through a couple of exercises. So did you want to start that now?
Absolutely. So the first thing I wanted to discuss with everybody is now that for a lot of you who sit all day, I wanted to talk about 2 muscle groups that we should focus on stretching. So these are things that I want you to set in your day, whether it be your morning break and your afternoon break and your lunch. So I'd like you to try to make a goal to get this done at least 3 times a day. The first one we're going to talk about is our hip flexors. So when you're sitting all day, your hip flexors are staying contracted, and it's this muscle right here. So I'm going to show you a stretch that you can do just by standing at your desk. So Nicole, I'm going to get you up if you can, and I'm going to get you over to a wall where you can I can show you this stretch.
Okay, so we're doing this on the fly and live. Because I knew Mandy was going to make me do this, I did wear my workout clothes and my Be a Good Human t-shirt. Because we all need to do our part in this pandemic. So here we go. What am I doing?
All right, Nicole. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to get you just to place your hand on the wall just for your balance. We're going to grab your foot and you're just going to stretch your hip flexors. So like I'm going to explain and talk as you're holding, but I want you to hold each side for about 15 to 30 seconds. And so, like I mentioned, when we're sitting, this muscle here is always in a flex position, which can cause your glutes or your butt muscle to remain inactive and become weak. So it's really important that you stretch your hip flexor. And as you can see, Nicole's got perfect form. Her knee is pointed straight down, and you should really feel that stretch along the front.
Feel it. I can feel it.
And the other muscle group that tends to be really tight for so many people now, especially with our cell phones, it's because we're always sitting texting or we're driving or sitting typing at a desk, is your shoulders and your chest. So I'm going to get you, Nicole, just to open up your arm onto the wall, and you can have your arm straight or you can have it bent. I'm going to show you guys as well. So if you come to a corner, all you need to do is just open up your chest, and that just really helps to open up the shoulder and alleviate any tightness that you have. So, doing both sides is really great. And this is something everybody can do from home. And I really encourage each and every one of you to do this multiple times a day. It just helps, decrease any chance of injuries and just really helping to elongate that muscle.
No, I can feel that in all of them. And you're right, I am sitting more than ever. I think that's just inevitable. And when you're at the office, you actually have the opportunity to get up and go and talk to people and grab a coffee at the water cooler and get out for lunch, maybe go for a walk. But we just don't have that nowadays. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
So Mandy, you have your home gym here, which is great. I imagine your business has been very different now that we live in this virtual environment. Have you had to move your clients to virtual?
I have actually, yeah. I'm lucky, a lot of my clients, I do have a virtual platform or a software program where I put a lot of my clients. So, it's great. It's just a program that goes onto their phone. And I'm their personal trainer in their pocket. So I set a program up for them to work out at home because that's kind of where everybody's doing their workouts these days. And yeah, that has kind of become their new norm. So I have this beautiful gym all to myself. So me and my family make the most of it. And I know I'm very blessed and very lucky to have this at home, for sure.
That's amazing. We've had lots of different speakers on. As I was telling you, one of the things they always tell us is keep our workspace separate from our family space and have separate from your workspace. So what are your thoughts on making sure that we actually create different spaces for ourselves?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's really important when you're working from home, and this is for me because I work from home all the time. This is my office, but for all of you who've kind of been thrown into this situation, I think it's really important that you separate your workspace from your professional space from your private space. It's that mind shift set. It's setting, boundaries for yourself and for if you're at home with kids or a spouse. When you're in that space, you're working. But I also really think it's important to continue your routine and to continue healthy habits. Get up, get showered, have your breakfast. Don't sit at your desk and eat. Take your breaks, take your lunch, step away from your office. Go eat your lunch out in your backyard, or if you live in a condo, go sit on your balcony and just get some fresh air. I think it's really important that when I'm down here with a client, I'm working. My kids know not to bother me. And, just for you parents who are working at home with your kids, try to have a space that's away from the kitchen so you're not tempted to go and snack, away from the TV so you're not being distracted by the television, and just somewhere that you find motivating, somewhere that's by light where you can kind of work and stay in a positive kind of environment. But I think it's all just about setting boundaries for yourself and for others and trying to continue to have that routine, like you're getting up and you're going to work. Don't roll out of bed and just roll downstairs in your pajamas. I encourage everybody just to get dressed, put some makeup on, it makes you feel good. I know right now a lot of people are going through a hard time.
It's so true, because here we are in week 3. Week 1, we were all thrown into it, and I think we were all just trying to adjust. Week 2, I think we got a little bit more routine friendly, and we tried to create some boundaries. And now there's all this uncertainty of how long is this going to go on for. So I hear you, routines and separate spaces. It's time for all of us to make sure that we put those in place so that, as you say, we kind of bring our best foot forward when we're working professionally, but we also step away and make sure that we have our own mental health taken care of.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the things that I thought was really great about your profile is that you're a youth trainer specialist. And I know that we have so many employees right now who have children who are at home because the schools are closed. What types of things can you give us advice on in terms of incorporating some physical fitness with our children?
For sure. You know what? I have 2 kids. I have a 7 and a 9-year-old, and both of them play rep soccer. So for us, sports and fitness and staying active is the norm in our home. My kids, ever since they were babies, I was working out, running in the stroller. I would wear them in my carrier or in their carrier, and I would work out with them. It was just, it laid the foundation for healthy living for our family. But, I think it's really important too, in a day and age, especially right now where kids are spending a lot of time on their cell phones, to try to pull them away from that and set that example. You know, they look to us for that example to have those routines and have healthy activities to do. So I've actually set up a circuit behind me, which I can have my kids show you. And this, you know, it's minimal equipment. I've literally cut out pieces of paper. I have 8 stations, and on each piece of paper, I have an activity. And they're doing 10 reps or 10 jumping jacks or whatever the activity is. And then they kind of shift through that circuit. And, you know, depending on how old your kids are, if your kids are younger, maybe you can't do that with them, but definitely you could do that wearing them, obviously safely, but there's so many activities you can do just involving your kids. They want to be involved. They want to be active. So.
Well, before the broadcast, you said your kids don't mind being on camera. So do you think they could show us a little bit of what
Absolutely, yeah. I'll go get them and they can show you the some of the circuit. Mateo, Mia, we have Hi.
Hello. Oh, welcome. Thank you for showing us your circuit today.
Yes. So they're going to show you guys their circuit. So guys, if I can have you start, you're just going to do it.
I love the outfits.
So basically, I have them starting on different things. You can go ahead. So they're starting on different exercises. Mateo's doing push-ups and he is doing sit-ups. And so they're going to do 10 reps.
Mandy, like where you have the circuits, is that where the pieces of paper so they know what you're doing? Okay.
So I just have basically, on the piece of paper, it just tells them what they need to do. And then once they're done their 10 reps, as you can see, Mateo's moved on to his next exercise. So right now he's holding in a plank. And Mia, that's good. Can you go to the next one and show us your next exercise? Yeah, so this is something really easy. It doesn't cost anything. And you know what? It's fun for them. It's challenging. And I think if you have older kids like Mateo, who is very sports specific, if you make, they're good, they're finishing up. Good job, guys. Thank you guys so much.
This morning, you're a tough mom.
You know, I had them run through that circuit 3 times, and you know, you can have them write down how many push-ups did they do. And if they're competitive, they can beat that the next time.
That's so great. Now you said they're 7 and 9. Mia's 7,
Yes.
Mateo 9. That's excellent. Maybe after, if some of our employees have different age kids, would you mind maybe drawing up some circuits that they might be able to do that's safe for different age groups?
Absolutely. Yep, I can definitely do that. The other thing too I wanted to talk about is, you know, don't negate the, you know, simple things like just going out in your backyard. If you live, if you have a backyard, I know a lot of people might live in a condo, and even that, as long as you're socially distancing, get outside with your kids. You know, go to a field, kick a ball, play baseball, throw a football. You know, set up cones, run, if you're in a soccer field, run from post to post or walk from post to post. If you can, if there's an empty field where there's a track or stadium stairs, you know, make it fun, make it challenging. I think it's really important to get outside and just get moving. It makes you feel good. You're getting vitamin D and you're getting fresh air. And because you're working from home right now, because you're always in that space, I think it's really important to get out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So anything you can do, as you say, as long as you keep physically distanced, but get out and have some fresh air, go for a walk. As you said, if you have the opportunity to go into your backyard, just getting out there and making sure that we enjoy our family time that we have.
Yes, for sure.
Excellent. Carla, do you have any questions yet as we're coming through?
We do have some questions. I'm just breaking a sweat right now from watching her kids do all that work. We do have some questions. There are some inquiries on stretches related to people. So someone has a pinched nerve in the neck and shoulder area. Is there a stretch that they can do to ease that as they exercise, as well as those who have tennis elbow or elbow pain from working on a mouse throughout the day? What is it that they can do?
So I can speak to that because for 14 years, I was actually a dental hygienist. So the fine movements of working in the mouth, I used to get a lot of wrist and shoulder pain. So for wrist stretches, I would say, you know, if you're coming, I have a flat surface here, but, you know, put your arms like this, and you're just gently going to kind of open up your wrist area. So if you place your palms down, I don't know, you can't really see, but if you place your palms down, there's a ball right here. So you're just gonna place your arms down like this. And so that's gonna stretch your wrist, flexors and extensors. And even holding them like this. So I'm holding sideways, so I'm just flexing my wrist and opening my wrist. So when we're like this all day, these muscles here become really tight and shortened. So it's really important to open up your arms and stretch them out. And for the person who asked about your neck, your pinched nerve here, so I would say is taking your arm behind, so it's kind of crossed behind. Okay, so again, you're stretching the front of your shoulder and you're just opening up your neck muscle here. So all through here, you should feel a stretch, and all down the front of your shoulder. And even coming to the wall, like I was showing Nicole in the beginning, gently pulling open your arm, you will feel a bit of a stretch here. So I think the important thing too is, you know, if you have a lot of shoulder tightness, it's, yeah, even just taking your arms behind your back and kind of opening, ensure that you're sitting up nice and tall, your shoulders are back and down. Stretching and strengthening are two things that complement each other. So as important as it is to strengthen and have a strong body, it's really important to stretch and make sure that all your muscles are loose and that all your joints can function efficiently.
And just as you mentioned, for me to get up, you know, you said 3 times a day and stretch my hip flexors and stretch my shoulders. You know what? That's actually a great one because you're on your mouse all the time. You're on your keyboard, so probably if you incorporate those, that's a good thing as well.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the things you have posted on your Instagram is a bunch of exercises you can do in your chair. Now, I notice, and I'm very envious of your ball. I definitely want to see if I can find one of my medicine balls and sit on those. But what are some exercises we can do on a chair throughout the day?
Yeah, so I have a chair actually beside me. I brought one down. So again, depending on your age, depending on any injuries, if you've got knee injuries, if you've got lower back injuries, there are some things that you're not going to be able to do. So, you know, if you can get something that's a little shorter, I have a shorter bench, but even using the stairs in your house is a great kind of tool to be able to do these exercises. But so I have a chair here. I don't know if you guys can see that okay. But one of the things I was showing was when I first started, we talked about stretching your hip flexor. Because you sit on your glutes all day, your glutes sort of become weak and inactive. So I'm going to show you an exercise to help strengthen your glutes. So if you sit at the edge of your chair, you're going to slide forward so that the back of the chair is going to sit kind of along the back. Where your bra strap would be. Can you see me okay?
Yep, go ahead.
You're good. So it's a glute raise. You're just coming down and you're coming up. So you're just working your hips. You're driving down and you're driving back. So that's one exercise. I mean, you can do step ups. So just stepping up and stepping down, making sure you're alternating. You can do a plank from your chair. So coming down, just holding into a plank. You can do lunges holding onto the chair, so just lunging back. So these are just some exercises, and I have these posted on my Instagram as well.
And I think that's great because one of the things that you and I were talking about is because literally overnight we went into this new world and then all the gyms closed and some of us, including myself, don't have access to a gym anymore, let alone all the different equipment that you're used to. So having things like chairs and walls and your own body weight is really helpful for all of us.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think we did talk about this as well, but You know, bands, or even using a laundry container. If you have one of those big laundry containers that are heavy, you can use it as a weight. You know, you can fill a backpack with whatever you like. So, you know, maybe some heavy cans, put on the backpack and climb your stairs. You know, that would work obviously for somebody who's fit and who doesn't have any injuries. But you can make it as challenging. There's progressions. You know, when you set up a circuit, reduce the rest time. That's going to make it a lot more challenging. You could use soup cans, water bottles. There's so many different things you can use around your house that are heavy enough to be able to do in a workout.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, one of the things that philosophies you and I shared, and we talked about this on Friday, is the whole concept of winning the morning and winning the day. Can you just share for everyone sort of what your thoughts are on that?
Absolutely. You know, that is something that I'm hugely passionate about, is winning the morning. I love routine. I love being prepared for everything. I am that person who's uber prepared. And so I think what the most important thing is, and I think this is great for your staff, it's a great exercise for everybody to do. So everybody who's watching me today, I know this might sound cheesy, but I'm going to ask you to think of a time when you were, you know, really proud of yourself. You know, whether it was being able to climb stairs without being winded, being able to put on jeans without feeling uncomfortable, you know, going on a family vacation and being able to walk around in a bathing suit and feeling confident. Whatever that is to you, it's going to be specific and very individual to each person. But I think it's very important to have a goal, because I think without a goal, you really don't have anything to work towards. And I think right now, it's such an important time to set goals. Set goals for yourself, set goals for your family, and that way each day you're chipping away at your goal. So what win the morning, win the day means to me, because I have a lot of goals that I'm trying to achieve, is it starts the night before for me. I think about what's tomorrow. What do I have to get done tomorrow? I have to work. How many clients do I have? Do my kids have sports? Okay, I know that I need these meals prepared. I have all my meals made for the next day. I get up at 4:30 in the morning. I get my workout done before my kids even wake up, because then I'm not feeling guilty that I'm taking time away from my family. Then you know, my breakfast is made before my kids even wake up. I have their breakfast on the table. It's just being prepared. I think when you have a plan, you know, they say success doesn't happen by chance. Everything is planned. And so if you are prepared for success, you will be successful. And so that's what that means to me. It's just having goals, preparing, deciding what that goal is. And once you know what you want, it's going after it every day to achieve that goal.
No, that's great. We don't all have to get up at 4:30 though to have that week. People make fun of me when I get up at 5, but 4:30 seems even earlier.
You know what? I love it. There's no distractions at that time in the morning. Nobody is awake. It is the most calming time to sit there with a cup of coffee and my thoughts. I do my best work at that time, and I know that is not for everybody. I know that, but you know, if you're a nighttime person, if you like working out at night, put the kids to bed and work out. You know, make that commitment to yourself. Make the commitment to, you know, drink water all throughout the day. Set your alarm. Eat healthy, clean, whole foods. You know, get your body moving. It's just fact that moving, setting goals, it helps you become successful and a happier person.
Oh, that's great. And it's funny, speaking of winning the morning today and small goals and successes, this morning I did a little made up workout routine for myself, and creative. So within a hallway, I found a mirror with walls that were within arm's distance. So I just tried balancing. And that's one thing that you actually lose if you don't stand on one leg.
Absolutely.
So I could tip over and actually hit the wall and bring myself back up. But I was really proud of how long I could stand on one leg, depending on the exercise.
Yeah, you know, and that's another good point, Nicole, that you bring up, is I think it's really important too, when we're talking about, you know, setting goals, is writing down a workout. Like, don't walk into your workout not knowing what you're going to do that day. Have a plan. Write it down. go to YouTube. I know we did talk about some platforms right now because people don't have access to go see a personal trainer. So YouTube is an excellent resource for Googling workouts. Go on there, you know, look up upper body workout, no equipment at home. You'll find a workout, write it down, take the piece of paper with you to the space that you have designated as your workout space, even if it's in your garage, in your backyard, wherever it is, and just have a plan, know exactly what you're going to do.
So if you're a beginner and you haven't been working out before, right? You've been going about your day-to-day life. Now you want to add some physical fitness in, but you're starting from scratch. What would you advise is the minimum amount of time, either per workout or per week, for someone just getting started?
You know, I think the important thing to say here too is that exercise is cumulative. So if you do 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at lunch, 10 minutes at night, that's 20 minutes, and that counts towards your whole day. So, you know, breaking it up into small amounts, I would say if you're a beginner just starting out, start with where you are with what you have. Go for a walk around your block. If that's 5 minutes, if that's 10 minutes, start there. Start with a walk. Start with a crawl. Whatever you need to do. You know, if you're really fit, run your stairs in your house. But I think for somebody starting out, I would say just start with the basics. Go for a walk. Literally go for a walk around your house. Set your clock for 10 minutes. And if you feel good, keep walking. Do 2 laps. But I think it's just setting small goals. And, you know, even if you did that 2 to 3 times a week, I bet you would notice a big difference in your next week. You would try to beat that, and it would make you feel so much better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think I mentioned to you that the staff last week challenged me on what my new workout routine was going to be. And so the goal that I set for myself was on the hour at 10, 11, 1, and 2, that I would do as many reps as I could within a 5-minute period. So from 10 to 10:05, I think it was push-ups. So however many push-ups I could do at that time, then come back to my desk and do my thing. And then I think it was squats at 11. So however many squats I could do for that 5 minutes. So just little bits, but I like the idea of it being cumulative. And now we have stretching. So now we can add stretching into it.
Absolutely. I think that's great. I think that's a great challenge. And I think that's perfect. If you are a competitive person, if you have a bit of type A personality, I think it's really great to set goals for yourself. You know, try to beat your time, try to beat your reps that you did last time. I think that's a perfect way, even for kids, to make it fun and to make it challenging, especially right now. You have to be creative.
It's all about creativity.
Yes.
So, Carla, do you have any questions on the line? We haven't seen you pop up in a little while.
We do have some questions. Mandy, if you can you just share your Instagram account? I'm sure we can get it posted as well, but just for people that might want to look you up, if you can share your Instagram account.
Absolutely. I'm just going to get it up because I normally don't.
Well, I'll ask you another question in the meantime as you look that up. Now that we're talking about, you know, people that are just starting out working out or with a workout routine, what are some tips that you might have for people to alleviate soreness now that for adults and children now that they're getting out and being more physical?
So that's a very good question. So muscle soreness usually happens 24 to 48 hours after a workout. So it's called delayed onset of muscle soreness, or DOMS. And it usually happens from an overload that your body's not used to. So what I usually do, I tell all of my clients after a workout, you know, drink tons of water. So I don't know how many of these I drink a day. I probably drink 4 to 5 liters of water a day. I would say that's not typical, but I would say everybody should try to aim for 2 to 3 liters of water. Water is going to help flush toxins out of your body and help with the recovery process. Making sure that you're eating enough protein. So this is huge, and I don't want to get into too much nutrition right now, but ensuring that you're having enough protein. Proteins have amino acids, and that helps with rebuilding the muscle tissue. So, you know, some examples of protein are eggs, chicken, beef, milk, nuts, those kind of things, legumes if you're a vegetarian. Another thing is having a hot bath. Sitting in a hot bath of Epsom salts. Epsom salts actually has magnesium, and magnesium is a it helps to relax muscle tissue. So, putting some Epsom salts, 1 to 2 cups of Epsom salts in a hot bath, and even stretching when your muscles are warm. So if you think about, I don't know if anybody knows what that toffee is like, but toffee can be brittle when it's cold. So that's like your muscle tissue, and that's a good point to bring up. I know we were talking about stretching, but it's always good to, if you can, to stretch warm muscles, because warm muscles elongate further and stretch and relax easier. So, stretching, hot bath, lots of water, lots of protein. Those would be my 4 main things that that you should focus on with recovery. And kids too. Like, I throw my kids, because my son Mateo plays a lot of soccer, he runs a ton. So I definitely make sure that his nutrition is on point, but also that he's having really hot baths and that we stretch his muscles out.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the hot bath. I've been doing the Epsom salts for years. I find it relaxing. I find it helpful. I've never been one that does the ice bath, though. I know a lot of runners do
yeah,
the ice bath, but that's just too much for me.
On a hot day, Nicole, and I don't know, I know you really enjoy running. I don't run nearly as long as or as much as you do, but after a really long, hard run in the summer, it is nice to have a cold shower, but in the winter time, it's just too cold.
Yeah.
I know it's good, but
for your ice bath anyway. Mandy, what's your philosophy on the combination? So one of the things we've been doing at MPEC now since Bell Let's Talk Day in January is focusing on mental health. And so you'll notice that there's a theme with all of the topics that we have. And you and I were talking before about the linkage between physical health and mental health, and you brought up nutrition and sleep and diet. Like, what are some of what's your philosophy and what's your advice to us on making sure that we stay connected and stay mentally well with all of this?
So, I've been doing a lot of research on just a lot of reading, because I know we did talk a little bit about dopamine and serotonin, and they're neurotransmitters. And basically what they do is they talk to your body. And what exercise does and what getting your body moving does is it actually boosts the serotonin and the dopamine in your brain. So it immediately following exercise, you feel good. It increases your self-esteem, it boosts your self-confidence, you feel empowered. And especially when you're reaching those small goals, exercise helps you to feel good. So I listened to actually a talk, it was a TED Talk given by a neuroscientist. Her name is Wendy Suzuki. So I would definitely recommend everybody listen to this, because she talked about the benefits of exercise, and she said that exercise is the single most transformative thing you can do for your brain. So, and she did talk a little bit about how your brain is like your heart or like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the bigger it grows, and it helps protect your brain against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. And like I talked about too, it increases your mood. So after completing a workout, you feel good, and that is a long-lasting effect. So and so that's the exercise part. The diet part, if you're going to give your body good, whole, clean nutrition, you're going to feel good. It's going to provide the nutrients that those neurotransmitters in your brain need to release when you're doing exercise. It's all cyclical. And so, when you're exercising, you're going to sleep better, you're going to eat better, you're going to feel better. So it really is a circle. Everything comes full circle. And then that's why I think it's a decision to get up early, to, eat healthy. It all starts with you. You have to decide all of these things, but they absolutely all interrelate and they all depend on each other. So once you start exercising, you start feeling better because those neurotransmitters, then those neurotransmitters have a chance to replenish when you're sleeping, and then feeding yourself good nutrition are all really important things to help replenish those nutrients.
No, that's great. And I saw that TED Talk with Wendy, and it is quite fascinating.
Did you see that?
I did see that. Yeah, she's a big believer of exercise and the fact that it can actually help with, as you said, Alzheimer's and dementia. She had a lot of points on that. Now you talk about sleep. And I know there's a lot of debate. If you exercise before you go to bed, does that help you sleep or does it help you not sleep? Do you have sort of thoughts on that?
So I would say no, because it increases, it can increase your adrenaline or your noradrenaline. So that is, a stimulating hormone. So I would say if you can, like food, stay away from eating or working out too closely to bedtime. It just interferes with your hormones, like your melatonin that you want to have released and your serotonin to help promote sleep. Yeah, definitely. In my opinion and in my experience, I am a morning person. So if I worked out at night, I wouldn't have a productive workout. But I absolutely, just for, those things I discussed, I don't think it's effective.
So within a few hours, yeah, and that's very consistent with what we've been hearing, and as we know, with the media and all the ever-changing evolutions of this pandemic, all the advice that we've heard is within a certain number of hours before bed to get a bit of a sleep routine. So turn your devices off, your technology. Yeah, as you say, don't exercise or eat too late. So that's very helpful. Carla, do you have any questions on the line?
We do have some questions. Mandy, can you give us any tips on how we can curb some of our snacking or self-soothing behaviors now that we're, at home, so close to our fridges and our pantries that might not have the most nutritional items in there, especially if you have kids, you're snacking on those kids' items.
I know. Yeah, I mean, I can say don't buy it, but the truth is that it's there. So if it's there, I think the most important thing to do is staying hydrated, because when you don't drink enough water, you often feel hungry. So staying hydrated. If you are gonna snack, cut up vegetables. Boil eggs. Have hummus with some cut up vegetables. Those are perfect snacks. That they're munchy. Just staying away from nuts. Nuts are very calorie dense. They have a lot of fat. So yeah, I would say stick to vegetables. If you're gonna snack, have something with, or even fruit, cut up some fruit. It's called a mix-up meal. And if you go actually to my Instagram, you'll see I have a picture of my kids with this mix-up meal. And all it is, some healthy fruits, some vegetables, maybe some pretzels, some hummus, some boiled eggs. And it's just a big plate of really healthy snacks. So you don't feel guilty eating that. So that's what I would say. If you're feeling snacky, munch on some fruits and vegetables. They provide nutrients for your body, so you really can't go wrong with those.
And I think also probably setting a routine, like maybe we should set a snack time so that it's not just any time. Carla mentioned our fridges are too close to all of us in this time frame.
Yeah, and that's part of your, setting your workspace away from the kitchen so that you're not wandering to your fridge, and you're on a conference call and you've got your hand, reached into the pantry and you're eating out of the cereal box. Put it down, eat properly at the table so you're not eating and feeling tempted to wander over to that pantry cupboard. I'm a human, I do too, I have kids, so it's hard not to snack on those things. But I also think when you have a goal, when you have something that you're working towards, you just say, no, not right now. And that's when I talked about, preparing your meals in advance. So I literally have a container full with all of my meals for the day, and I have my snacks in there as well. So if it's not in there, I just don't eat it.
Wow, well, you're very regimented and very routine focused.
I know everybody is not like that. I know that's not realistic for everybody. So if you are gonna snack, I would say snack on healthy foods.
Yeah, I always say pick one thing, like look at something that you see that you admire and sort of pick one thing from that. And if it's just preparing the meals, then that's step one, right? As you said, creating a goal. I see Carla's up on the screen.
Yeah, I'm just going to take over. So any recommendations, Mandy, on people that are dealing with shin splints, as well as back strengthening exercises?
Sure. Can I give you my my Instagram too? For those of you, I don't know, Nicole, if you're going to post this at the end, but just forget.
Yeah, we'll post. I'll get it from you and we'll post it at the end. Everybody has it.
So for shin splints, there's a lot of things I would ask. I'm not a physiotherapist, but if you do have shin splints, I would say look at the shoes that you're wearing. And Nicole, you probably could speak to this as well since you're a runner. So I would say make sure that you have proper shoes. That's going to be number one. Make sure that the distance that you're running is at it's a distance that is incremental each week, you know, that you're not jumping from 5K to 15K. It has to be small incremental distances so that your body is getting used to it. But how to alleviate that? I would just stretch so that you're pressing your heel down into the ground. So I can show you here. I'm just going to use this. I don't know if you guys can see me. So, you know, pressing your heel down and you're stretching your heel. I can really feel my calf muscles, which is right back there. And also, if you have a little step or something that you could place your foot onto, and you're bending your knee and you're kind of leaning in, because you have two muscles there, your gastroc and your soleus. So you want to make sure that you're stretching both. And again, if you're having the shin splints in the front or the back, it depends. I know there's different compartments of pain that people can feel, whether it's the posterior or the anterior or the front. So I think stretching would be your best thing. Looking at your shoes, making sure that you have proper shoes, or if you need insoles. And yeah, try doing some hot baths, like sitting in hot baths and massaging them. Even if you have a roller, I'm gonna grab a roller here just so I can show you.
I know sometimes for runners, it's different surfaces. So if you do a lot of pavement running, sometimes that can trigger the shin splints. So for those of you who have to be inside more, if you have a treadmill, those are usually a little bouncier, which might actually alleviate some of the shin splints.
That's a good point as well. So yeah, just with help with tissue recovery, you know, I have foam rollers. I have two. I have a flat one that looks like this that doesn't have any nubbies on it, and this one does. These are a game changer. So all of you right now that are having shoulder pain, back pain, hip flexor pain, I encourage you to get one of these rollers. I'm going to show you. This is my other one. It's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's the kind I'm used to. I've never seen this, the one with the nubs on it before.
Oh, it's a little aggressive, but it feels so good. It's like literally having a massage therapist at home. So these little things just stick into your back or wherever and kind of stick on those pressure points. So I don't know where you're having the pain with your shin splints, but even rolling this on your leg is just going to help. It's just going to help relax the muscle tissue there, so you're able to kind of work through that pain. But I would just definitely say stretching and massage, hot bath, yeah, change your running surface, and lower your distance for sure. So I don't know how long you're running. There was another question.
About the back.
The back. So that's a good, again, for people who are sitting all day, most people have inactive glutes because you're sitting on your glutes. So back pain is usually caused by weak glutes or your bum muscle and a weak core. So some strengthening exercises, you can do reverse crunches. So I can show you a few of them right now. So I don't have a mat here, but I would say for people who have any lower back pain, and then so you can see me. So strengthening for your lower back, it's usually your opposing muscles, so your lower abdominals. So all you're going to do is, if you're here and you're doing one leg at a time, that's working your lower abdominal muscles. Or if you want to make it more challenging, you're coming down nice and slow, and then coming back up. So that's going to work your lower abdominals, which is going to help with your lower back, believe it or not, but I will show you some lower back exercises. So again, you're just coming down all fours and you're just going opposite arm to opposite leg. So these are some easy exercises you can do at home. And right now, I can feel this kind of all the way up through my arm, through my back, and into my glutes. Sorry?
I was going to say that one that you just did there, I'd say it's probably more the beginner one, the stretching, because I've done that one.
Yeah.
The other one is probably a little bit more advanced. So I think that would be a nice starting point for someone if at least they want to test their back out.
Absolutely. And if you wanted to work on your glutes, coming to a chair or your couch, you can bring your feet up and you're just lifting your glutes. I feel this in my lower back, my hamstrings and my glutes, and back down. So you're just coming up and folding.
Yeah.
Even planking would be great as well, but start with those. I think, yeah, if anybody has any bands, You could do some band work, but if you don't, body work, holding in a plank, doing those opposite arm to opposite leg lifts, I think that's going to really help you as well.
Yeah, and we caution everyone, make sure you don't do anything that pushes yourself too much, and consult with your physician, right? Especially if you've got
Absolutely.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We only have a couple minutes left. Carla, is there any other final questions we have?
We do have some questions. One is on whey protein. Is it good for you?
Whey protein.
Well, it depends if you have a dairy allergy, because whey has dairy in it. So if you have a dairy allergy, I would say stay away from it. But I use it every day. I have for the last 20 years. I take a protein shake just because, you know, this again is getting heavily into nutrition, but I know I want a certain amount of grams per day of protein. So say I want 130 grams of protein every day. You know, a scoop of protein provides usually 25 to 30 grams of protein. So it's a really easy way to reach your macronutrient of protein. And also post-workout, it's really great to have, because it's liquid, it's already pre-broken down. So having a shake or a smoothie, it's quick, it's easy, it gets to the muscle, and it's already pre-broken down. So I would say whey protein is not a problem. I actually even give it to my kids. If you have a dairy allergy, stay away from it. You could use vegan. There's pea proteins, rice proteins. There's a lot of different protein powders on the market. But yeah, I think it's perfectly fine to use, and I actually would encourage it, especially if you're working out, because it would probably help you with recovery. And they taste good. And if you're feeling like a snack, there's so many. If you go on my Instagram, you'll see I have a lot of protein recipes.
Okay, Carla?
Great. Yeah, so anybody who is pregnant and wants to exercise with their toddler, what advice would you have for them?
So pregnant and has a toddler?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, so I think, you know, doing body weight exercises. So if your toddler could stand beside you, you guys could do some squats. I've even had clients here who are pregnant. So a lot of my pregnant clients, I use bands with them because you want to strengthen your glutes and hip area. So I have these mini bands, which are amazing. You can get them on Amazon. I don't know what the delivery time is right now, but I got a pack of these for $22.99, and it came with 4. So you put these around your lower legs here, and these are just, they're back up. These are really great if you're stepping side to side. So we're really working with the glutes and working this area. So if you have a toddler, your toddler can be beside you. You know, even if you did just some really fun body weight squats, these are good, keeping your, obviously everything core, everything nice and tight, and you're just coming down and back up. You know, there's so many exercises you can do that are just using your own body weight. Even if you hold your toddler, I don't know how big he or she is, but holding her, you know, and doing squats, walking lunges would be out of the question. But, you know, even if walking up and down stairs, I think those would be some safe recommendations that I would make.
I say kudos to the person who is pregnant and a toddler and is asking for workout tips, because you'd think they'd be pretty tired already, but that's excellent. Carla?
Yeah, one more question, or sorry, a couple more questions. Do you recommend hypertrophy training and strength training in the same workout?
What was the first one?
Hypertrophy and strength. So basically, hypertrophy is just building muscle. Strength is so, you know, I don't know if we're just talking about different rep ranges and different. So if you're talking about different rep ranges, because usually for hypertrophy, you're using really, really heavy weights and a lower rep range. With strength, you're usually around 8 to 10. With hypertrophy, you're anywhere from 4 to 6 reps. So yeah, you definitely can. It depends what muscle you're trying to hypertrophy. It depends if you're working multiple muscle groups in one session. I think if your goal is hypertrophy, then you should just focus on hypertrophy. I think it's important to periodize your workouts. If you are an athlete at that level, make sure that you're periodizing your workout so that you have a set focus. So yeah, I would split it up. If you were my client and your goal was hypertrophy, I would put you in a hypertrophy rep range where that's what we're focusing on. I hope that answers your question.
It's a very advanced question.
It was.
You seem to be sitting on a medicine ball, I believe, and I think someone may have caught on to that because they've asked, does sitting on a medicine ball for most of the day, is that good for strengthening your posture?
Your glutes, strengthening your bum?
Your posture.
Your posture, sorry. I thought you said posterior. It is. It absolutely is, because it's like using the medicine ball is actually has slid behind me, but I do sit on a ball if I have to. It's just more comfortable for me, but it also promotes your core from working and your core from those muscles from firing. So if you are sitting in a chair, I would say safely try to sit at the edge of your chair. Nicole, I know your chair rolls and moves around, so I would recommend sitting on the edge of that chair. But if you have a kitchen chair, if you don't have a ball, you can always just set up a chair where you're sort of sitting at the edge of it so that you're keeping everything tight and you're trying to sit up tall and work. But yeah, it absolutely will. If you are sitting on a ball without a back, it's going to ask your core to fire.
It's going to force you, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to force you in an upright position. I always think it's really important too, just for your breathing and your diaphragm, is to sit up nice and tall to lift your rib cage when you're sitting and forcing your shoulders back and down. And so that in fitness, that's what we call the set position. So anytime my clients are going to start an exercise, that's the set position, is sitting up nice and tall, core is lifted, and your shoulders are back and down.
That's right.
If you can, try to think of that throughout the day, to reset your body positioning, to sit at the front of your chair if you can. And if you're working from home, maybe grab a kitchen chair that you're not, slouching and using the back. I think, when you're sitting without a back, you're forced to sit up tall.
No, absolutely. And posture is key, right? You put your shoulders back, you feel good, your back strengthened, so it engages your core, as you say. Okay,
Yeah.
Carla, last question from you.
Yes, last question. What would you recommend exercises for those who consider themselves middle-aged?
I think any exercise can be for anybody. I think you just have to show different progressions. So if you go on my Instagram, actually today, my mom, who is 73 years old, she's on her treadmill walking. And so, I think it's really important just to work at your own pace, work at a level that is appropriate for you and where you're at. You could be 20 and you could be really out of shape or have an injury. You could be 50 or 60 and be really in shape. So, I think no matter where you are in your fitness journey, I think it's always important to start and work out at a level that is appropriate for you. So what exercises would I recommend? Any of the exercises that I had my kids doing here. So just safely, you can hold in a plank, you can hold in a side plank, you could do mountain climbers safely, you could do squats, even with the chair, I use the chair on the video that I did, but you're just tapping down and standing up. These are very easy exercises that are safe that everybody can do. If you have an exercise ball at home, perfect. You can bring the exercise ball to the wall and do a squat with it. If you have stairs in your house, if you don't have any knee injuries, just take one step and come down like you're doing step ups. You could do push-ups from your countertop. There's so many different exercises that
creative ways. One thing I, because as someone who, early in my youth tended to push through things, that listen to your body. Listen to your body, start small. You gave the advice even with running. They always say never go more than 10%. And I would say probably the same thing for all of us. If you're not used to doing this, we've talked about a lot of different exercises and opportunities. But I like what how you characterize as progression. So start small, make sure you're comfortable with it. consult your physician if you have to. Make sure that you're keeping the right postures. There's endless YouTubes, as you say, out there, but make sure that you start small and listen to your body. And I like even the idea of breaking it up throughout the day, so you're not trying to dedicate 30 to 40 minutes, which is overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of minutes and then go off and do something else, and then do 2 minutes. But just again, movement is what you had mentioned before, is just key for all of us.
Yeah, movement is going to promote the release of those feel-good hormones. So just get your body moving. Do something that you like. It doesn't have to be in a gym setting or, gym-specific exercises. Walking is perfect. If you're middle-aged and that's all you can do, just go for a walk, because then you'll just push yourself to go a little farther or a little faster, and you just progress from there.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today and in your
Thank
home
you,
gym. And even having your children participate. I think the circuit thing is excellent. I think what a great idea. Just write a couple things down on paper and make it a bit of an activity. Let them score themselves. Hopefully people learn some great tips, and you're going to share your Instagram account, and we'll put all of that on our intranet for people. And I just want to thank you for your time and sharing with our MPAC family.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Mandy. Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye.